gosh, they did it. Someone finally did it. Hello, everybody. Welcome down to Forest River's Media Building. My name is Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV with a fun, newer model here in the Rpod lineup. This is one of these, I call them towable truck campers, because if you look at the floor plan, it's laid out very similar to how a truck camper, slide-in camper would often be designed, but it's something that you pull. And what's great about this one, it could work for like mid-sized tow package pickups, a bunch of SUVs. Like, this is a really good camper. But what has me all jazzed up, like there's plenty of other RVs like this with a rear wall entry door. This is not exactly like a trailblazing new concept. It's less common, but it's not like this is the first one ever. But most designers that build this floor plan with a rear wall entry door and a front bed, it's just a fixed bed. Rpod came up with a sort of Murphy bed situation that it's actually a Murphy dinette, which is really interesting, but depending on how you pack it and stack it, you can actually layer it up to be like a day bed and a dinette. So let's say you're like a single parent or you're doing some buddy hunting camping, you can sort of sleep next to each other without sort of sleeping with one another, if you know what I mean. You don't have to know your buddy biblically to go camping together in this one and go hunting, camp, or fishing or whatever. Not to mention, instead of a traditional dinette against the campsite wall overlooking a big window, this one, they gave us like a sofa bench, which can also kind of function as a sleeper. And that's, I think, super brilliant in that this is a small RV that can work for 1, 2, 3 people pretty effectively. Also, something else that gets my goats here, it's a totally enclosed dry bath. It's tight, it's compact, but it's not like a split bathroom. The toilet, the shower, the big XL vent fan, a dedicated bathroom sink, all in one dynamite little package. Now, this is loaded with like Asdel, solar, heated belly, all kinds of good stuff going on this one. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of it yet, and I already think it's winter, but that's just my 2 cents. Like any RV, it's got some downsides too, but I'm gonna try to show you the good with the bad, and I wanna hear from you. Where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? And if you appreciate how we try to be fair and candid with you, hit that subscribe button. Let's get Doug in there. Hey Ben, is Doug here?
Doug ain't here.
Doug ain't here. Now, I gave you a quick little wide-angle preview on the inside. I don't like doing that, but some people ask for it in these small RVs, so I try to give you at least a quick little look, but I'll let you know. What's awesome about these, I call them, again, towable truck camper style rear wall door floor plans, look at the straight-in loading space that you have right here. If you have something like folding e-bikes or totes or dog kennels or even a small kayak, you could literally just give this thing a kayakoscopy straight up the backside and not necessarily need a toy hauler, you know, and there's nothing wrong with toy haulers, but that jelly ain't everyone's jam, you know. Also, you want to breathe icicles? This little trailer has a full power 15,000 BTU air conditioner up here. It will cool down. Now, this is not, because the size of this camper, it's not a centrally ducted air conditioner. So when that sucker kicks on, it's going to probably roar like Katy Perry. So just be aware, be prepared, as Scar from The Lion King would say. I've been in my musical references lately. 12-volt pivoting smart TV, I think, is a really smart decision here. But what they did up front, I have been hoping and praying manufacturers would adopt something like this. And Rpod, I think, really, really nailed it. So what's cool is up front here, we have a little me and you kind of dinette. I'm not going to call this a full wraparound 4-person family dinette because it's not. But you notice how the mattress kind of folds away up there. So if you are solo camping, you have a dedicated dining space. I'm kneeling on the sofa right now. You have kind of your own dedicated bed across the front of this thing. Nothing says you ever have to break down the dinette. But if you want to, if we do this New Kids on the Block style step-by-step, ooh baby, this is what I was talking about. You can have like a 2-level sleeper, and you might be sleeping right beside your buddy, but you're not sleeping in bed with your buddy. But if there are a couple of you in here, and or if you just want a little bit more space, nothing says you can't just fold the bed open over the top of that dinette and gain. I think this is a short queen sleeper. I don't think this is a 60 by 80 true queen, because they built those little kind of side stands on the each side of the bed, probably because they were like fitting for the dinette. So they had to sort of go with the short queen. Most of your Rpods with Murphy beds are some variety of short queen. But I appreciate the fact that even with the Murphy bed, most Murphy beds with front windshields on RVs, you lose the function of the windshield inside the RV. You don't have that challenge here. You don't have that hiccup, you know? And more to the point, you know, even when the bed's folded up, you maintain the windshield, but nothing says you have to always leave this in dinette mode. If you want to open up the space a little bit more, like you're stuck inside on a totally rainy day, there you go. Nothing says you have to do that. Now, due to the curvature of the nose, they're not really able to effectively put cabinetry on the front end here, so keep that in mind. But over here at the sofa bench, like if I sit down at this thing, you see that, you know, this is a pretty cool place to hang out. Like if you are just sipping on coffee, sucking on a chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze. Little ditty about Jack and Diane right there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'll be signing apologies you know, in the parking lot. But the window coverage, the viewing on this is awesome, and it doesn't feel small and compact and cramped in this place. Now, working our way over into the little kitchenette, right down below, we have the central vacuum system with the electric dustpan. That's where the little footprint is on the right. What I like about that is it just makes this thing, keeping it clean, easy. Now, this is a 3-in-1. It's air fryer, convection, microwave, electric oven right here, and some handy power outlets. Then above that, we have our 2-burner high output stove. A lot of people don't know this, but these are dual high outputs. Both burners can boil water. 3-burner stoves, only the front one boils water. The back two, generally speaking, will not. So even though it's a smaller cooktop, it's actually arguably a more effective cooktop. And I think if you talk to most RVers, they will tend to agree you're really not going to stick 3 pots and pans on an RV stovetop at the same time anyway. So I think the 2-burner kind of makes sense. Now, if you're sitting over here in the dinette or in the bed, this TV can twist and shout and pivot about and do whatever you need it to do, no matter where you're at in the camper space right here. Oh, I'm glad I wrapped around this corner. I was kind of wondering if we had another set of outlets up here, but it looks like we do right on the side of the kitchen area. And Rpod does this a lot. They add that little hardwood sink cover right there on this floor plan. They put it right next to the stove, which I think is going to act somewhat as a stovetop side splash, but it could also act as a little bit of extra handy counter space. Now, if I slide back into the other corner here, if you look under this overhead cabinet, you'll see some USB and some household outlets right there, potentially servicing whatever you might need over in this area. Now, it does mean that some cords would dangle down potentially on top of your head, but because this is a laminated wall RV, they just really don't have a better place to run cords over there. Sometimes an RV's greatest asset is its greatest liability. But this I love. This is what I was saying. If you are solo camping, you have that front basically daybed concept I mentioned, but you could also just pull the cushions off the back of that and just crash along that bench if you want to, you know? So even if you're using the front camp queen bed, you could still use that. And down below here, if they would have left this open pocket bench storage, I wouldn't have been upset. But they threw the netting on there just to keep everything in its place. And that was just a smart touch, you know? This is a smaller 12-volt compressor fridge, but it's a separate fridge freezer, which is a really, really nice find. And for no bigger than this thing is, I think they actually did a fairly good job of the storage in it. Our cabinetry, by the way, is lumber core and pocket screwed. Basically, the cabinetry is screwed together, not stapled. The capacity of this is not blow your mind, but for a small RV, I think it's very adequate because they didn't go with the full like 10 cubic foot fridge freezer. They had a big chunk of space up here that I think they utilize pretty effectively. That is, like, if you've got big pitchers for sweet tea or something like that, you've got a very handy, useful place to place those. And sometimes people will, our southern cousins will say, what does a Yankee boy like me know about sweet tea? Well, I won't tell you I'm an expert, but I am not completely uninitiated. I have spent a little bit of time living south of that Mason-Dixon line, right in the heart of Georgia. and I learned that sweet tea is delicious, and the Diabetes Coalition of America probably does not appreciate the stuff because you just add enough sugar into it that you can almost chew it, and there you go, you got sweet tea, delicious stuff. But the pantry space, I almost kind of wish there was an extra shelf in that pantry space because it's really good storage, but it almost feels a little too tall to be maximally useful. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But over here, this was kind of just the cherry on top for me. I was really happy. Like, the RV's got some challenges because of its smaller size, but like a fully enclosed dry bath, the leg room was a little tight for me, but I was very pleasantly surprised. The elbow space on this didn't suck. I was actually quite happy with that. Not a lot of linen space in here. How you doing? A little look at me there in the camera space. But they did give us a place to hang a couple towels at least, so I'm not upset about that. And everything in basically your Surveyor Rpod family of campers, which also includes little offshoots, I believe, like Ibex and Nobo, mind you, has the bigger Furrion XL vent fan. Now, the RV is 6.5 foot tall, floor to ceiling. It's not extra tall. This shower, it's not the biggest shower I've ever been in, but considering the small size of this camper, I was overall very pleased with the space, the accommodations, and the comfort that I have here. Something else I literally just noticed right now, the door handle to the bathroom actually has a lock on it. So if you are in there and you just need a little bit more privacy to relax and let nature take its course, it gives you, you know, the handy ability to be able to do stuff like that. It's crazy how many RV bathrooms just don't lock up. But the window coverage, again, I'm just sort of like, I thought, what if I just sat up front at the lounge space of this and I give you the point of view? The fact that when the Murphy bed's not in use and I can still just have full on views and visibility, it's awesome. Now the camera is kind of struggling with this a little bit here because I do still have the bug screen in place, but if you want to fully open that up for max airflow and you don't have mosquito getting going on outside, this will do it. Now, one of the other nice things about this one, if you take another look at the weights and the measures here, this is an easy tower and goer. We're tip to tail, tongue to bumper, 17 foot 3 inches. And the empty weight of this, just under 3,000 pounds. Now, that's the ticket. This is a little soapbox I want to get on. Because, like, I have a Ford Maverick, and it has a 4,000 pound tow capacity. And there's a lot of SUVs with a 4,000 pound tow capacity. And the vast majority of RV dealers out there are going to look at you and say, yeah, no, 3,000 is less than 4,000. Give me your money. You're fine. But look at the GVW of this one. The gross vehicle weight exceeds my safe 4,000 pound tow rating. So this is not a proper fit for my Ford Maverick. But there are a world of mid-size tow package pickups and SUVs with fair tow ratings that could yank this every day, where you don't necessarily need to go give up your daily driver vehicle. You don't have to get a 3/4 ton to yank this around. You don't even need a 1/2 ton necessarily. You know, you're going to go through mountain towing. You might want a little more motor, but generally speaking, flatland, southern Michigan, where I'm from, all day, every day, a lot of SUVs and mid-size pickups are going to find this one well within their safe ratings. Now, the width of this camper is one of those things where you're going to get different answers depending on who you talk to, because the actual body of the RV is slightly a narrow body. I'm eyeballing it. I think it's roughly 7'6" wide. But if you notice, the wheels stick out slightly further. It's an 8 foot wide axle. So depending on how you want to slice the carrot, which is a phrase no one's ever said before, I think I just made up, it's 7'6" wide, it's 8 foot wide. Depending on what you're discussing, both are correct. So kind of keep that in mind. I would go with the wider 8 foot wide just for safety purposes. Now, up front here, solid front full pass-through compartment. On a small camper like this, that's a nice find. And look right down below that, 4-corner stabilizer jacks. That sounds like such a stupid thing to talk about. You know how many small, lightweight, single-axle campers don't give you front stabilizers? So this thing wiggle jiggles all over the place, makes you motion sick. Don't blink. You might miss the awning. It's not the world's biggest awning, but, I mean, look at this. Tell me how they could have possibly put a larger awning on it. I think the only way that somebody could say you could potentially get more awning coverage is like with one of those 270-degree wraparound batwing awnings, but Rpod just, I don't think, uses those, so that's just not an option here. That might maybe be something we could aftermarket solution for you at one of our stores, but I'd want a parts specialist to verify. Hot cold outside utility shower. You see the little white flag hanging down below that. That's our propane cooker hooker for the outdoor griddle station that is factory standard here. Goodyear Endurance radials. For the majority of these you're going to see are going to be running on Goodyears. The Hood River Edition Western models will have a Westlake, I think it is, but some kind of larger knobby looking off-road style tire. We are ladder prepped. We have a fully walk-on roof. This does have a 200-watt factory solar package also standard on here. The door in the back, the glass door, I gotta love-hate with this thing myself. It looks frickin' smexy, dude. But I want to ask you, have you ever touched one of these with your bare hands when it's been sitting in the sun all day? I swear, you remember in Men in Black when Will Smith burned off his fingertips to become one of the Men in Black? These things get singy hot. So kind of keep that in mind a little bit right there. Now, normally you'd get a rear bumper and a rear receiver hitch, but just because of the way this one lays out, this model right here just doesn't have the opportunity for the rear receiver hitch. Now, we are not level currently. The nose of the RV's up in the air a little more than the tail. So it's making the sewer stuff look arbitrarily close to the ground. But even that being said, it's gonna be kind of close to the ground. That's one of the other things on the Hood River Edition, is that it does give you a little bit more ground clearance to kind of avoid that. 60,000 BTU tankless on-demand water heater over here. Notice how our stovetop actually does exhaust heat out of the RV. So when you're cooking in the camper, you're not cooking yourself out of the camper. For the most part, you have standard windows. But we got to talk about the front of this thing, where you have that pop-open, Euro-style, actual two-layer hollow windshield combination right here. It can obviously pop open for some crazy, crazy awesome airflow. Depending on what you're doing, you could literally hand stuff inside and out of the camper right here, but obviously I've got the bug screen in place now, and if the sun is baking you out of this thing, you also have a radiant backer on the back of that. And this style of window has 2.5 times more R value, even as compared to the bonded dual pane, quote unquote, thermal windows that you could pay a ton of money for on a big fancy pants fifth wheel. So I'm not telling you it's the same insulation as just like a solid sidewall, but if you want a front window windshield on this to make the little camper look and feel bigger, that will allow you to maintain the best thermal regulation basically possible in the industry today. So there you go. Let me know what you think about this one. Good, bad, ugly, and in between. In the meantime, as I tend to do, I'm going to leave you some links down in the video description to double check pricing and availability. I may also look up some other videos where I've done with other builders who have like a rear wall concept like this. I will say, I think this is one of the smartest, swankiest, best appointed versions of the towable truck camper concept that I've seen here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit more expensive as a result, but I can definitely see where the juice is worth the squeeze on this one. If you want more than just the absolute bare bones basics, this is a very solid contender right here. In my opinion, I'd camp in this. I think this is a very solid option. I might also dig you up a couple links to some other Rpods that are a little bit smaller if you're like, this one just ain't quite for me. But I like what I see out of Rpod. They make plenty of other layouts for you. So leave me a note. Let me know what you think. And until next time, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone. And let me know if Doug ever shows up. Lazy bum.